Yo, welcome to the stream. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear my voice. I just want to make sure that my microphone is working. I once did a live stream for 45 minutes, but I forgot to press the go live button. So just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear my voice. Please like the video on your way in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you can always have a chance of tuning in for one of my live streams. Please learn the #1 rule in DeFi. We do DeFi the right way, which means we use a Web3 wallet, which is a seed phrase. A seed phrase is a wallet. A wallet is a seed phrase. The seed phrase is that sequence of 12 words, or in some cases 24 words. That seed phrase is like your master key to your entire wallet and all of the accounts within your wallet. So your job is to keep that a secret. It's also called a secret recovery phrase. Emphasis on the word secret. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you. Going to try to trick you. Okay. I think I'm live. I don't know. I think maybe it stopped playing the little intro video. Maybe not. I don't know. Keep it as a hard copy. Don't give it to anybody. Don't email it to anybody, not even to yourself. You don't need it again in the future unless you're restoring your wallet on a new device. Keep it to yourself. Don't let your seed phrase out of your control. Don't give it to anybody. Don't enter it into a website. That's a very, very common, typical scam. They'll get you to go to a website and enter your 12 words. Don't do that. So anyway, thank you for joining me. My name is Brandon, also known as the DeFi Guide. I'm kind of like a tour guide. I'm providing education on how to get into crypto and DeFi. I am not providing financial advice. I am not providing investment advice. Your investment decisions are completely your responsibility. Don't blame me if you decide to invest in something that you see on my live stream or on one of my videos. I can't be responsible for that. At the end of the day, you're the one that clicks the button on the mouse. So anyway, what I can do on the channel and what I love to do on the channel is to provide education so I can help you to lower that bar, flatten that learning curve so that you can get into crypto and DeFi. I believe that I believe that decentralized finance is completely the wave of the future. And so there's a lot of stuff to learn when it comes to crypto and DeFi, and that's where I can come in and help you make those well-educated decisions when you are making your decisions as to what to invest in. Primarily, I do that with the live streams here. Emphasis on the word live. This is a live opportunity for you to be in the chat, ask questions in the chat, and I would love to interact with you and do my best to answer your questions. I also have the Telegram group. This is a live free chat program called Telegram. You can put it on your phone or your computer. t.me/team drip guide. That is the chat where you can come in, ask your questions, and get some answers directly from myself or some of my admins there in the chat. Just be wary of the direct messages that you're going to be bombarded with as soon as you ask a question in a public chat. Some of the scammers might even try to call you on your Telegram account. So just be wary, just be very, very skeptical of anybody that's reaching out to you in a direct message or a DM. 99.99999% of those folks are going to be scammers trying to trick you. So just ask your questions in the chat and look for the answers to your questions in the chat as well. Or like I said, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and tune in for my live streams when I do them. I'm here in Añasco, Puerto Rico. So the power grid here is extremely fragile and unreliable. So last week I wasn't able to stream as much as I wanted to because of the power issues and generators, super loud, etc. But make sure that you tune in to the live streams, and that's a great opportunity to ask questions and get some information, help to learn more and more about Web3 and DeFi. It really is a fantastic opportunity. Anyway, I'm droning on and on. Let me share my screen. Today we are talking about TradingView. Oh boy. It sounds like the power went out, but it didn't. Maybe the air conditioner just turned off. It's just like it went silent here where I'm sitting. And there we go. So we're talking about TradingView. And I guess also at the same time, I wanted to sort of let you guys know the different ways I'm trying to manage my cryptocurrency portfolio. I do have a fairly large investment portfolio at this point, thanks in part to the settlement that I recently received from Mt. Gox, or the coins, the Bitcoins that I finally got. But what I've done is I've allocated my overall investment portfolio to be not, it was previously like 99% crypto, especially when I got that Bitcoin. I've cashed in a lot of that and sort of moved it to really just to cash. But I still maintain about 50 to 60% of my overall investment capital is in cryptocurrency. So I want to talk about how exactly I'm managing that side of my portfolio, and how I use TradingView to look at the different charts, which exact charts that I look at, and then and sort of how I make the decisions when it comes to managing the different pieces of my cryptocurrency portfolio. I'm kind of half and half, almost, you could say, with dollars, straight up cash, and even some bonds. And I'm half cryptocurrency. So it's kind of a defensive position, you could say. If I really wanted to just balls to the wall, go all in on crypto, I could do that and probably would do extremely well. But I'm also a little bit leery of a big sell-off that we might see here in the near future, especially if the economy goes into a recession. No one really can predict the future, but a lot of people that I respect are talking about how we're going to be heading into a big recession. So I wanted to take a big chunk of my overall portfolio and put it in cash, put it in bonds, to just keep that as dry powder. If we do get a crash, we'll be able to scoop up not only crypto, but other traditional investments on the cheap if we do get that opportunity. But in terms, this is a crypto show, so let's talk about how I'm managing the crypto side of it. And by the way, I'm not the authority on all of this. I would welcome your guys' criticism, constructive criticism, your opinions on how to, what's the best way to allocate your cryptocurrency holdings. I'm going to talk about how I'm doing it lately, including how I'm using liquidity pools and V3 liquidity to actually increase my crypto holdings over time. So we're going to talk a lot about that. And again, how I use TradingView to monitor all of that. But definitely feel free to interject. I've got the chat right over here. So let me know what you think of what I'm doing. Let me know your opinions on what you're doing, and what you see coming in the near future, 6 to 12 to 18 months out is kind of my time frame for how I'm managing this part of my portfolio. So first of all, I do have a big position in Bitcoin, and I think that Bitcoin will be going up in the long term versus the dollar, right? So the dollar is a soft form of money. Meaning it's very easy to produce additional units of the currency. It happens every day with debt, and it's all based on debt. So I think that Bitcoin is the hardest money on earth, meaning it's extremely hard, relatively hard to produce more units of the currency. So I think that in real terms, in purchasing power, I think my Bitcoin will do a lot better than my dollars over the long term. But as I said, I want to have a bunch of dollars in reserve, dry powder, in case we do get a big sell-off. But I don't want my entire crypto portfolio to just be in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is great, but in terms of delta or alpha, there are other cryptos that I feel will perform much better. If we do get that bullish sentiment and we do see a big rally in Bitcoin, some of these other cryptos, I believe, will pump a lot harder. They'll go up a lot faster and bigger percentages than Bitcoin. So I do want to have, a distribution where some percentage of my crypto is just Bitcoin, but another percentage is these other tokens that I really like. And along those lines, the other tokens that I like predominantly are going to be DeFi coins, meaning coins that are associated with a blockchain that's used for DeFi, decentralized finance, and mostly coins that are used as the transaction coin, the gas coin that's used on these different networks. So predominantly, we're talking about ETH, but I'm also a big fan of the SWI blockchain, which is a really relatively new blockchain. I'm pretty much kind of a fan of AVAX, although not as much as SWI. I'm a fan of Solana. Solana is another DeFi blockchain. And of course, ETH. Maybe I said that already. So those are kind of the main coins for me is, and how could I forget BNB? I'm a huge fan of BNB. I've done hundreds of thousands, not hundreds, tens of thousands of transactions on the BNB chain or the Binance Smart Chain. And I've always known the network to be extremely quick, very cheap, very, very, very reliable. I had some issues on Solana, so not so reliable over there on Solana. So BNB, I would say BNB is my secondary holding. I want to hold a lot of Bitcoin, but I also want to hold a lot of BNB for the, potential bull market in crypto. Solana, not a huge fan of the network, but I think it'll do very well in a bull market if we get that in crypto. SWI, very, very good technology. I think it's one of the best blockchains out there right now. And I think it's going to do very, very well, especially, like I said, if we get this bull market in crypto. So Solana, AVAX, BNB, ETH, SWI. I have some other holdings, but let's talk about TradingView and how exactly I manage all of this. So I have a couple of different watch lists over here. Now I do have an account with TradingView. And I think you can do this even if you have like the free version of TradingView, but I'm paying like $200 a year, I think. If you want to sign up for TradingView and get some more functionality associated with actually a paid subscription. I do have a link below. I'm not trying to make money on referral links. I make money with crypto and DeFi, and I make money with StableSwap, which is another huge part of my my overall portfolio. Thankfully, StableSwap has really sort of taken over in terms of me being able to have passive income. It is a closed opportunity at this point. It's a private investment opportunity, and they've closed it out. Probably will reopen for a short time in early November. I can't guarantee anything with that, but my point is, I've had the opportunity to invest a pretty sizable amount of money in StableSwap, and that 0.53% daily is taking care of all of my bills and then some. So that's really fortunate because it allows me to focus my crypto portfolio on accumulating more crypto. Not so much, I'm not so much concerned with generating an income off of my crypto. I'm more concerned with building my crypto portfolio come what may in terms of USD prices. I want to build that portfolio larger and larger, more and more coins. So that's my goal when I'm providing liquidity. So let's first of all start out with my allocations between Bitcoin and these other coins that I'm interested in. So what I've done with TradingView specifically is I've created these ratio charts. So if I just type in here BTC USD, there's a few different exchanges that will allow you to trade Bitcoin and the dollar. And if I just, let's say I just choose the Coinbase one. So that's just going to show me the dollar price of Bitcoin. So what I've been doing with these ratio charts is actually putting a slash in there. So let me show you how this works. So let's say I want to do Coinbase. That's the exchange that I want to monitor for my Bitcoin price. So I'll do BTC USD. And then I'll put a slash in there. And then I can choose whatever other coin I want to compare to Bitcoin. So for example, I'll do Binance. And we'll look at BNB USD. So, and then you just hit enter on your keyboard, and that gives you the ratio chart. And that's the top one that I already have over here on the watch list, BTC versus alts. So as a ratio chart, and by the way, I've kind of tagged or labeled where the ratio was when I actually received my Bitcoin back from Mt. Gox. And so this is actually interesting, and this will explain something I'm going to show you guys in a little bit later. Is this is going to show you how many BNB tokens you would need to get yourself one Bitcoin. So this is showing the Bitcoin price in terms of BNB. Hey, Tony, nice to see you. Jashawn, shout out to Jashawn, J Vanquish. I've learned a lot from Jashawn, and I would characterize Jashawn as the hardest working guy in DeFi. Got a family, got kids, got a full-time job, and he's really hitting the pavement in terms of DeFi, finding lots of opportunities. You can catch Jashawn on Crypto Unlimited 22. They always do a live stream on Friday or Saturday nights called Friday Night Live in DeFi or Saturday Night Live in DeFi. And Jashawn always has a lot of good, a lot of interesting things to talk about and a lot of opportunities in all sorts of different avenues of DeFi. So shout out to you, Jashawn. I appreciate you. Buzzy, Steven, nice to see you guys. All right. So what was interesting and what has been interesting is there was a period of time here of a couple of weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, where BNB was doing a lot better than Bitcoin. And so you can see this ratio chart, the ratio of Bitcoin versus BNB was going down. And that means that, either Bitcoin was selling off harder than BNB, or in this case, I think what was happening is that Bitcoin was rallying, but BNB was rallying much harder than Bitcoin was. And so this ratio plummeted. And I didn't do anything down here because what I'm interested in is, taking some Bitcoin and moving it into BNB. But I only want to do that when the ratio is favorable. In other words, I want to get as many, if I'm reallocating my crypto portfolio and moving some capital out of Bitcoin and into BNB, obviously I want to do that when I can get the most BNB for my Bitcoin. And so what I want is a nice high ratio of BTC over BNB. And that way I can, trade in half a Bitcoin for a lot more BNB tokens than I could have way down here. All right. So this is one of the charts that I monitor daily. And I also then have other tokens that I'm interested in, right? So this is ratio with Bitcoin and BNB. Here's Bitcoin and ETH. Now, ETH has been in the doghouse. ETH has been performing like crap for the last month or so, right? And you can see that in the ratio chart here, where Bitcoin just keeps going up and to the right compared to ETH, right? So I haven't been doing a ton of, I haven't been buying a lot of ETH. I'd rather just, I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm just, hanging on to my Bitcoin because it keeps increasing in value compared to ETH. It's holding up better than ETH when the markets are going down. It's rallying stronger than ETH when the markets are going up. So that's interesting there. Now, SWI is almost the complete opposite. SWI has had this huge rally. I don't know what the catalyst was, but you can see this massive overperformance. And again, this means that in this case, Bitcoin was actually rallying. If you look from August 5th to August 12th, from August 5th to August 12th, Bitcoin was up, right? But SWI was up way harder. And that's why this chart, this ratio chart, just plummeted. It wasn't because Bitcoin wasn't doing well. It was because SWI was doing more well. It was doing better. And so, again, I've tagged the July 23rd ratio, which is when I got my Bitcoin. And I think I did sell some Bitcoin and bought some SWI. I didn't tag it. I didn't mark it here on the chart. But I'm pretty sure within a couple of days, I was selling some of my Bitcoin for dollars and then taking those dollars over and buying SWI. So I believe I did get this more favorable ratio. But then, of course, once this plummeted, now I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna wait until I can get more SWI tokens for my Bitcoin. Solana has been kind of up and down, and this one I did tag. So at the time of receiving my Bitcoin, I could have gotten 377 Solana for one Bitcoin. So I'm pretty sure I did sell some of my Bitcoin and just withdrew the cash, but I also used some of that cash to buy other coins. And I definitely, swapped some Bitcoin for Solana right in here. Obviously could have done a bit better, but you see what I'm getting at. I want to move out of Bitcoin and into other altcoins. Why do I want to do that? I think if and when the bull market does arrive, it's going to benefit these altcoins a lot better than Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will go up. I think all of these alts, or these favorite alts of mine, will go up a lot harder, and that's what it's all about. That's what I want my crypto portfolio to do. I want it to pump as much as possible. I want as many X's as possible. And so I'm just kind of biding my time and monitoring these charts. And when there's a good opportunity to swap some of the Bitcoin into an altcoin, I take advantage of that. I don't have any XRP, but I am watching this one. And again, if I see the ratio start to climb and my Bitcoin becomes worth more in terms of XRP, I definitely will pick up some XRP. This is AVAX. Lots of opportunity here. And I did buy some AVAX with the proceeds of some Bitcoin sales. But then, AVAX did a lot better than Bitcoin, and I'm still holding that AVAX at this point. I'm actually using the AVAX in a liquidity pool. I'll show you guys that in a second. And this is something that I recently added. I haven't tagged the July 23rd ratio, but this is actually the stock market. So SPY is an ETF. It's a stock market ETF. It represents the S&P 500 index. And so this is something I like to keep an eye on, just to kind of see, how is Bitcoin performing relative to the stock market. I think there's a kind of a general rule when it comes to Bitcoin and these alts, and Bitcoin versus the stock market has the same relationship. And that relationship is, if the markets are going up, let's say the stock market is going up, chances are Bitcoin is going to be going up harder, and the alts are going to be going up even harder than Bitcoin. If the market is coming down, if the stock market is selling off, everything in crypto is kind of amplified. So in my experience, Bitcoin is going to sell off even harder than the stock market, which we saw right here, right? This was stocks selling off into that August 5th low, and Bitcoin sold off even harder than the spiders. Someone on Blue Chip Show last night was talking about binary option trading. Yeah, there's such thing as binary options. It's a yes or no option. So an option is a contract where if you buy the option contract, you have the opportunity but not the obligation to execute that trade. So in other words, if I bought a call option on SPY at a certain strike price, it gives me the option, but again, not the obligation, to buy 100 shares of SPY at whatever strike price. And so it's not binary because the price is not binary. It's not, you can't say the price of the S&P 500 is yes or no. But a binary option means that you're basically placing a bet. It's more of a betting type of instrument versus like an investment type of instrument. It's really more of a bet. So you're betting that the S&P 500 or SPY is going to close above 564 2 weeks from now, or whenever the expiration date is. So yeah, binary options are definitely a real thing. I do not trade any binary options. I do trade stock options from time to time. But yeah, and they have betting markets or basically binary options in crypto as well. I remember PancakeSwap was doing that, where you could You could place bets on whether or not cake or Bitcoin or whatever would be above or below a certain price. You could bet against it or you could bet for it. So yeah. Anyway, notice that as soon as the stock market started to rally from August 5th onward, then you had, more or less, you had Bitcoin rallying harder. So Bitcoin was going up versus SPY. Anyway, I kind of got off track. So liquidity pools. Now, a lot of people invest capital into these liquidity pools for the express purpose of generating passive income. And that's fantastic. It works great. You should talk to Jashawn. Jashawn is definitely making that happen. You can talk to me as well. But for my money, because again, fortunately, I have all of my income needs being taken care of by StableSwap. Hooray. So grateful for StableSwap in many different ways. But because I have that income need met, my goal with providing liquidity is to grow my cryptocurrency portfolio. Regardless of the US dollar value of that portfolio, I want a larger and larger bag of coins, right? So when it comes to providing liquidity, and not just any coins, but my favorite coins, right? My favorite coins only. These are the various liquidity pools where I am invested. Now, my primary investment is right here. I have a pretty good chunk of money in the Bitcoin. This is the Binance pegged Bitcoin token, BTCB, and BNB. Now, this is on PancakeSwap. Show you the position. That's this position right here. $33,000 invested in that pool. Now, again, this isn't for income. The idea here is that I'm going to accumulate extra Bitcoin and extra BNB as I hodl for the bull run. This came out of range because, again, we had a period of time where BNB was massively outperforming Bitcoin, right? So this ratio plummeted, dropped out of range, and never went back. And again, when you're providing liquidity, I've said this so many times, but it bears repeating. When you're providing liquidity, you are making a market, which means you are taking the opposite side of every swap. If somebody buys Bitcoin, you're selling Bitcoin. If somebody sells Bitcoin, you're buying Bitcoin. And the other part of your liquidity position, in this case, BNB, is the one that's either buying Bitcoin or you're getting more BNB every time you sell Bitcoin. So if you think about that, if you keep that in your mind and you look at this ratio plummet, traders are selling Bitcoin in favor of BNB. And so you're buying Bitcoin in your liquidity position. Once you get to this lower part of your range, you don't have any more BNB. You've already bought all of the Bitcoin that you could with the BNB part of your liquidity position. You don't have any more BNB. So at this point, when the ratio drops below your range, you're now the proud holder of 100% Bitcoin. I'm not angry about that. I'm happy to hold Bitcoin in the long run, which is why I haven't rebalanced this position. I just waited this out. Okay. Now, one thing I did do is when the price got down in this neighborhood, before this price action happened, I had a feeling, or I had a thought and a prediction that, okay, Bitcoin, the ratio has bounced several times in this area. So I thought, well, maybe it'll bounce again. And I wanted to have more BNB in my portfolio. Like I said, I'm happy to hold a bunch of Bitcoin once price dropped below my range. But I also noticed how great BNB was performing relative to everything else. So I'm like, I want to trade some more of my Bitcoin for BNB, right? So when price was down here, let me zoom in. When price was down in this area, I opened a brand new liquidity position, which I would call a one-sided liquidity position. Now, it's one-sided in the sense that I only had to put Bitcoin into this liquidity position. It's still two-sided in the sense that I put that money into the Bitcoin BNB liquidity pool, right? But the way this works is if the ratio is down here and you put your range up here, it means that you need to have Bitcoin in this position to be able to sell Bitcoin if the ratio comes up here, and you're going to get BNB for selling that. So you can see the ratio did flirt with my range here, but I wasn't quick enough. And actually, I really wanted to wait until the ratio went above this little narrow range. And then, of course, it dropped down. BNB continued to outperform. Now, literally half an hour before starting the stream, I just closed out this position. So let's take a look at this. I have a bunch of BNB in my liquidity pool. Traders are doing what? They are buying Bitcoin. When traders are buying Bitcoin, what is my liquidity position doing? It is selling Bitcoin. So this bag of Bitcoin tokens got sold off in favor of BNB. And once the price or the ratio jumped above my range, I was sold out of Bitcoin. All the traders had bought all of my Bitcoin, given me a bunch of BNB. So I closed the position right there. And when you close that, you pull that capital back out of the liquidity pool and back into your wallet. So I got to keep all of the BNB that my Bitcoin had been swapped for, right? So that was interesting. And again, my goal there with this one-sided liquidity position was just to get my hands on some more BNB. I've learned over the last month or so that BNB is just a beast. I don't know if that will continue, but I've had a very positive experience. Like I was saying earlier, I've had nothing but positive experiences when it comes to using the BNB chain. The network, the transactions are cheap. They've only gotten cheaper over the last 3 years in DeFi. They're always fast. What can I say? It's just a great network, and I think it will continue to succeed in the future. So I wanted to pick up some extra BNB, so I used that liquidity pool to my advantage. Now, I would be happy if price comes, or if the ratio comes back into here. If it does, now my liquidity position will be back in the game, right? I'll be collecting swap fees as the ratio hangs out within my range. If Bitcoin continues to outperform BNB, no problem. I have a big bag of Bitcoin. I'm all good with that. And the ratio, if that were to happen, the ratio is going to pop out of range above here. And again, just like over here, it's going to be the opposite. All of my Bitcoin will be sold off, and I will have 100% BNB if and when that ratio climbs above my range. Speaking of climbing above range, just recently, a couple of days ago, okay, I do have this liquidity position here in AVAX and BNB. And you can see AVAX was underperforming, just like everything else, versus BNB. And so almost as soon, within a few days of opening this position, the ratio fell out of my range to the downside. Again, I was holding 100% AVAX here, right? Traders were selling AVAX. I was buying 100% AVAX. No problem. I'm happy to hold a bag of AVAX, right? Didn't rebalance my position. I don't want to lock in that impermanent loss. Think about that. If I had rebalanced down here, let's say, now I have to take maybe half of my AVAX and swap it for not as much BNB, right? I can swap my AVAX for more BNB up here than I can down here. So if I swap AVAX for BNB down here, I'm not getting as much BNB. I'm basically selling the low. And that's what I would have to do if I wanted to reposition my range to down here in this area, right? And so imagine if I had done that, I would basically lock in the impermanent loss into a permanent loss, a realized loss. And then I would be kicking myself when I see this and I'm like, oh, why did I swap AVAX for BNB down here when I could have waited? Now, this didn't have to happen. I don't have any ability to predict the future. I don't have a crystal ball. But if this had never happened and this just continued to stay down here or went even lower, so be it. I have a bag of AVAX. That's all good. I think AVAX will do well if and when we get a huge bull market in crypto. AVAX is one of the tokens I'm happy to hold in a bull market. So I just leave it alone. I don't rebalance. I don't define a new range. I just let it go. If it stays down here forever, all good. If it goes back up, great. And because I'm more bullish on BNB versus AVAX, this is what I did a couple of days ago. So once the ratio worked its way up to here to the top of my range, again, traders were buying AVAX, selling BNB. My liquidity position was doing the opposite, right? And so when the ratio got up to here, now I have 100% BNB. That makes me happy. I'm happy to hold BNB. And again, because I'm more bullish on BNB than I am on AVAX, what I did, as you can see here, is I removed 10% of the position. What does that look like? So I simply came into here, clicked on my AVAX BNB position, and just remove 10%. Boop, like that. Now, when I removed 10% of liquidity, when the ratio was above my range, again, that means it's 100% BNB in my liquidity position. So I got all BNB. I got 10% of my capital out in the form of BNB, pure BNB, right? And my idea here is I'm going to hodl that BNB. Again, I like to hodl BNB. It's my favorite. And if I want to, I could actually save that BNB for down here. So if this ratio comes back down and AVAX cools off compared to BNB, I'll be able to swap that BNB for more AVAX down here, right? So this is a way to sort of juice my overall returns and grow my crypto portfolio even faster, is essentially selling the highs and buying the lows. Now, if I did that, if the ratio came back down here and I took some of my BNB and swapped it for AVAX, what I would do is hodl that. And then guess what? If the ratio came back up to the top of my range, I might go ahead and swap that AVAX for more BNB and rinse and repeat, right? So I love the idea, of course, of buying low and selling high when it comes to these ratio charts. Now, I also did this with ZK. I'm on the fence with ZK. I'm not really sure if I'm long-term bullish on ZK. I love the network. So it's kind of similar to BNB in terms of my user experience has been absolutely awesome with using the ZK Sync network. However, ZK is not a gas token. They use the ETH token. They use ETH for the gas token on ZK Sync. So I'm not really too sure what the value proposition is for the ZK token. So keep that in mind. I'm not too sure about the long-term prospects for ZK. I am pretty confident about the long-term prospects of ETH, right? That's the number 2 crypto next to Bitcoin. So here's what I did. I started this liquidity position back on August 6th. All right. And I don't know what my ratio was for ZK versus ETH, but it's not important for all this ratio, all this price action right here. I just was collecting fees on the order of maybe 0.2% a day, something like that. And just hodling those fees in my wallet, collecting them every couple of days and hodling them. But then when the ratio jumped above, again, ZK was outperforming ETH. Traders were buying ZK. I was selling in my liquidity position. By the time the ratio is up here, now I have 100% ETH. So exactly the same here. I've removed 10% of my position in the form of pure ETH. And I'm going to now hodl that. Maybe I'll swap it for some more ZK down here. Maybe not. I don't know. This trend is not looking fantastic, but this is kind of like a startup. This is kind of like an ICO, where typically ICO stocks do this. They'll like sell off from all of the excitement on day one, and then they'll kind of base. This kind of looks like it's bottoming out here. And it might jump up. So I'll probably swap some ETH for ZK if I get the chance down here. And again, this is just one of the charts that I monitor. Try to monitor it daily. This is one of my positions here, Solana and BNB. Solana, I would say, is the best compared to BNB. So Solana has been holding up and keeping up with BNB better than any other coin. And so I'm happy to hold either one. In fact, I do hold a bag of Solana tokens just loose in my wallet, not in the liquidity position. And the plan is the same here. The APR is not amazing on this. Last couple of times on Sol BNB, 0.21% was the daily on that. So not groundbreaking, but it's extra coins, right? So as long as the ratio is within my range, I'm just collecting fees on the daily while I sleep, everything else. And then again, the plan would be to maybe sell or swap some Solana for BNB if we get the ratio nice and high, or maybe swap some of my BNB for Solana if we get some lower prices or some lower ratios. That's Solana. Let's see, ABAX. We talked about that last. Well, actually not last, but I do have a small position in Jupe. This is the Jupiter token. So it's kind of a reward token, a DEX token for the Jupiter decentralized exchange. And so not a huge position, like I said, and I'm not Jupe is kind of similar to ZK. maybe even less favorable as far as the long-term prospects, because it is kind of a reward token. I'm not too sure how the tokenomics are on that Jupiter exchange, but for the time being, this is earning me some free Solana tokens. The APR on this one is actually pretty solid. I was earning about 0.5% a day on this when it was in range. The volume died down a little bit, so the last couple of times I pulled my rewards on this, it was a bit lower as far as the daily rate, but that is that. And last but not least here, I did talk about this last week. I'm very skeptical on the long-term prospects of Brett. It is a meme token. You know, maybe it'll have utility in the future, maybe not. I'm not too sure. So I kind of did a hit and run. I put some ETH to work on the Base network. I wanted some exposure on Base. So I went ahead and bought a little bit of Brett, paired it with my ETH and put it in the pool here. And then 2 or 3 days ago, when I saw Brett was pretty hot compared to ETH, I went ahead and pulled it. So I've completely closed out this position after less than a week. And I just, like I said, like I've said a number of times here, once the traders push the ratio above my range, my position was 100% ETH. Perfectly happy with that. I don't want to gamble too much on a meme coin. It's really not my MO. So I'm glad I did that, because obviously you can see the market cooled off. People started selling Brett a lot harder than they were selling ETH. So the ratio dropped down here pretty hard. I think it's going to keep going. Maybe I'll scoop up and swap some of my ETH for some Brett, maybe like way down here. I kind of feel like, you know, well, okay. So that must have been when Brett was like first taking off and obviously massively outperformed ETH. Will that happen again? I don't know. I don't put too much stock in it. And so if I do swap some ETH for Brett, it'll be like way down here, and it won't be a large position. This will just be like a little tiny little moon bag of Brett, just in case we get like a raging bull market and all the memes are pumping, especially on Base. Like I said last week, Base and Brett, there's a good opportunity that we see a lot of new DeFi users, a lot of new crypto enthusiasts coming into Coinbase and then going from Coinbase to the Base network. You know, so this could pump pretty hard. So I might want to scoop up a small position again if we get the ratio down there. So that is it as far as my liquidity positions. Last thing I want to do on the stream tonight is just collect some rewards. So I'll show you how that works. If you're unfamiliar, if you haven't done liquidity positions, definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can ask questions and learn more about this liquidity provision stuff. You know, the APRs, even the let's say the more conservative sort of ranges that I'm using, the APRs are still really nice. I mean, look at this AVAX BNB. Is this in range? It is in, well, it's flirting with the top of my range. So it's been in and out of range. So I've only been, you know, earning fees, let's say 60% of the time or whatever. Anytime it pops out of range, you stop earning fees. But there are some fees to claim over here. So I will go ahead and collect those. And again, those just go right into my wallet and add to my overall cryptocurrency portfolio. It's just free tokens. Okay, so that is done. My Solana BNB, let's see what's going on over there. Oh, nice, $100. So we'll collect those tokens as well. Roughly 50-50. It's a bit more value in the BNB that I'm collecting. But again, just adding to the bag. Might have to increase the gas on this one. Oh, I think it just went through. Yep, just went through. It took a little while, but it went through. So got my rewards from there. BNB, Bitcoin BNB is out of range. So there might be a couple bucks in there. Nah, I'll just leave that. As far as my ZK Sync position, that is in a different wallet. Oops. So we'll switch over to the ZK Sync network. Try to anyway. Not sure what I clicked. I clicked something wrong. There we go. The ZK / ETH position, I think that's been in range a lot. That's not what I wanted. Yeah, this one has spent a whole lot of time in range. If we got some decent volume, the swap fees should be pretty good on that. So let's take a look. $50 is $50. I think I collected fees pretty recently. Well, in fact, I know I did. I collected fees 2 days ago, so that's a couple of days worth of fees right there. So like I said, the APRs are not astonishing on these, but they're, mid to high 2 digits. We're talking about at least 50% APR, which is amazing, right? And then sometimes it'll be 3 digits. Maybe even sometimes as high as like 200%. And you could narrow your range and have even higher APRs, but I also want to be in the game more of the time. So the wider your range is, the less often the ratio is going to jump above or jump below. So it's just a balance of how many fees do you want to collect versus, how often and how much of the time do you want to actually collect them? Okay, I think that came through. My Jupe Sol position is going to be on Orca. So this is just another decentralized exchange. My favorite UI is definitely PancakeSwap. This one's not bad. Aerodrome, I really don't like that, but I don't have any positions on Aerodrome right now. That's where I had the Brett ETH position. Internal server error. Nice. Let's try that again. My Phantom wallet. This is the wallet that I use for everything on Solana. Oh, which reminds me, I'll have to change my ledger from Ethereum mode to Solana mode. This one estimates the daily yield, which is kind of nice. So that's not bad. Jashawn is usually getting like 1 to 2% a day. So he has some more narrow ranges than me for sure. But that ain't bad. 121 bucks off of 9,600 bucks. And it's been a few days. It's been about 10 days. So not super amazing yield that I'm getting off it. But again, it's free money. These are free tokens that I get to collect every few days, maybe once a week, and just keep building that bag. See if this is going to cooperate. BNB and ZK Sync are definitely better than Solana in my experience. Like my ledger isn't even popping this up. So I don't know if I'll be able to actually finish this out. Yeah, it's not coming up, but that's okay. I will take care of that later on. And I think that's going to do it. Yeah. That is going to do it. I don't know why this isn't popping up on my ledger, but I'm not going to worry about it. That's going to be it for this stream. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching the recorded version, thank you very much for watching my video. Please like the video, leave a comment down below, turn on those notifications, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can be here live for the next one. And other than that, I hope you guys have a good week, and appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to join the Telegram group, ask some questions, get some answers, learn. I promise you it is worth it. Yeah, that's it. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.